So now that the Essential has dropped in price, you may be thinking about making this your next device. Now it's actually called the PH1, but nobody calls it that. So let's get on with it. As far as build quality, I would say this is one of the better built phones on the market at this point. This ceramic back is very nice, but very slick. You've been warned. Make sure you get a case or some kind of wrap, because I've had this slide off of a desk twice now and out of my hand once already. And I've never broken a phone screen, and this one did just fine. Luckily it fell on carpet, but the charger cord actually pulled it right on off that easily. The only thing I was kind of thrown off by was this edge or the side here. I realize it's a premium material, but it's not really brushed or polished either. It's kind of an odd design choice, and it doesn't really match the white in my opinion. I actually had a coworker said it looked like an older iPhone. But what do they know? I will tell you, this little edge here does get dirty though. This will have to be clean on this device, the white one in particular. It's actually starting to turn a little brown, which you can't really probably get to show on the camera, but just throwing that out there. But I must say, overall, I'm very impressed by it. I guess since that's already showing on there, before I forget, battery life, important for a lot of people. I'm getting about 6 hours of screen on time. I'm not a power user by any means, but it's not the best battery on the market, especially for something that doesn't even really have an always on display. It has raise to wake, but I don't think I've seen a setting that's always on display, which are kind of two different things. So battery life would even be more diminished if it had that. But again, 5.5, 6 hours is not bad by today's standards, especially with the top of the line processor that this has. No real hang-ups, so to speak. Every now and then I may get an app that takes a second to decide what it's doing, but it's all livable, especially for what this costs at this point. Now, unlocking it, the fingerprint reader is accurate, but sometimes there's a bit of a delay. Very slight, but let's see if you can hear the vibrate motor pick up and then it actually light up. Not a huge deal. I feel like sometimes maybe I not in that instant, but I miss the reader despite being a good spot, and I might have to go for a second try, mainly because most of my phones have a case and it kind of centers it a little easier to find. But there is a very, very slight delay. We'll get to this in a little bit though. I know that's very important to a lot of people, and these are pretty much useless in my opinion at this point unless they really come out with something innovative. That whatever 360 camera can go on somewhere. Of course, you get your USB-C, which I'd hope so, at the starting price this was at $700. Kind of odd SIM card tray on the bottom. Don't put your eject tool and that little microphone port, but no expandable memory, but you do get 128, which is not bad and should also be kind of the standard starting point. Looking at you, Apple, 64 gigs, what a waste. The speaker, not the best, but it's adequate. It's a little hollow, but it's usable. I like it. It actually kind of comparing it, I've got it in airplane mode because I keep getting notifications. I did compare it to my Note 8. I decided not to do an on-screen test. Just take my word for it because it's still difficult to compare the two that way. It's just as good, if not a little better, just because these always, for some reason my Samsung speakers keep sounding a little muffled versus these other phones I'm testing out nowadays. So it's comparable. It's not awesome. It's not gonna beat a U11. And it's probably not gonna beat a Pixel 2 of either variation. I'm sure I've got the regular Pixel 2, but it's not bad. I always like to bring that up because I have wireless headphones, but most of the time I'm just sitting my phone on the counter, let it play for a little bit as long as there's not a lot of background noise. So that's what I look for in my phone. Hardware-wise, I have to bring this up. Power button's in the right spot. Gotta keep getting used to the differences between my Pixel and this now, because this is where I normally like to have it, and that one's way up top. So this one did right. Now getting everything unlocked, screen-wise, great screen. Is it the best on the market? Well, no, but is it bad? No, this is a great screen. And then you've got that all-seeing eye at top, though, as well. Kind of reminds me of that Rockwell song. Leave a comment down below if you know what I'm talking about. You get that little cutout that you get used to, but it is very different, because I never really had a device with something like that. Not till my 10 shows up. Some apps will actually put a border around it. Let me think. YouTube, I believe, does that. So it kind of tries to hide it. Kind of puts a black border. Not bad. Not all apps do that, though. The Tray doesn't. Very noticeable at that point. Not waterproof, water resistant, not a huge deal. Never had an issue with that. Some people cry about that. No headphone jack. Also, not many phones with that. I know Samsung's holding on to it. I have a feeling that's going to disappear here in the near future. The vibrate motor on this. I know that's odd bringing that up. It just feels a little. It's not that it's super weak or anything. It doesn't go with the regular build of the phone being so premium. It just feels like I've got a $50 vibrate motor phone, or phone vibrate motor in a $500 phone. If you know what I mean. It just feels like it came out of a much cheaper device versus everything else, and that's important because I never have my volume on, so I don't know if that kind of came out the right way, but basically it feels like I've got a track phone vibrate in a more expensive premium device. And I couldn't remember if I brought this up or not. This is nicely braided cable. That was random. I didn't want to forget about that. Never really seen a manufacturer include that, so that actually was a nice touch with fast charge as well on that. Now, call quality, before we get to the back end with the camera, call quality was good in the few calls I have had. Most of my stuff is through text or email, so no issues there. You do have an indicator, but it's almost useless. Luckily, I actually have my battery light coming on. It's so tiny. I mean, it's there, but you're gonna have a hard time even seeing that if it's at any kind of angle. As you can tell, very slight. And speaking of angles, no blue. Good. The most important part most people are probably worried about at this point is going to be the camera. Now, I got this phone after all the current updates have come out, and I don't see what all the fuss is about. If you just needed this for social media, this phone, the camera, not going to give you any problems. Do you have any special effects from the native app on here? No, there's absolutely nothing on it. It's very bare minimum. I'm guessing, of course, they could add some stuff with software later in the future. I know there are some apps you can download to help with all that, but you're getting a very bare bones camera app. But quality was actually pretty decent, and I wouldn't mind posting pretty much any of those pictures on any kind of social media app. You're not going to be making Hallmark cards with it, but the front one, a little grainy, especially when you get the lower light levels, gets a little bad, I guess. Not awful, but you start to see it starting to get a little grainy. And the rear one will do it too, again, in really low lighting, but it's not all that slow. The pictures turned out pretty decent. I even did a little video with it, and it actually, now I didn't put this on my computer to check it out, but my Note 8 I can't use for my YouTube videos. It creates horizontal lines on this desk. I can't even use it. And it's a $930 phone. I have yet to figure out why that is. But I did a little bit with this, and I had no problems. So go figure. So the camera, pretty good. Pretty good. I was very surprised. Unlike, say, this one, which everybody was like, oh, dual camera, oh, what's gonna happen? Yeah. Obviously, this phone only retails for like, $280? not very good. That was the G5S. Never had the good photos come out of that. That was a terrible camera for me. So, would I recommend this phone to somebody? Do you want a pure Android experience? Do you want a phone you don't need a lot of bells and whistles, stuff's kind of slowing you down? This is the phone for you. I realize OnePlus is kind of in competition for this, but you're getting a dated design. If you get the 8 gig model, it's actually going to cost you more as well, not by much. I'd really have to have both side by side again to check the photo quality, whether they would really win out. I don't know if that'd really be all that close or not. I was not amazed by the OnePlus 5. It's a great device. If you like customize, it's a good one for you. And then the 5T is coming out soon, but who knows what that's going to cost. And the U11 starts off at about $100 more, $150 without a coupon. If you're lucky, you may be able to get it slightly cheaper. But that was a good device, but not as, I didn't feel like it was as premium as this. You pick this up and you feel like you've got new technology, whereas I picked that up and I felt like, okay, I got a really great camera, good battery, Sense UI, which I don't care for, but I got a dated design. Did like the fingerprint reader up front though, and it had really good speakers. But anyways, I'm trailing off now. Pure Android, would I recommend this? I definitely would. Later.